Before I get started with this story, I have to give a shout out to the one LVZ because he is the first and so far probably the only person. You know what? I take that back. He was the first person I heard about this story from, and I believe Phil at the Advice Show is the other person who spoke about this as well. And so far, they're the only two people that I'm subscribed to who I know spoke about this story. And when I first learned about it, I was at a loss for words. I really was, because of the nature of this story. Now, I'm going to come at this story from a couple of angles, because while what happened to this young woman is very, very tragic and brutal, and it's probably so many other words, something else this could have easily been avoided. It could have very well been avoided. But let me get into it. In this image, you have the picture of this young lady by the name of Sabriya Mclean. And when I first saw the video, when the one of VZ did the video, I thought she was maybe, 18 or over. Because, sometimes pictures can be deceiving. And, sometimes, you can look younger than you are and you might be older than what you appear. But this young lady was 15 years old. She actually just turned 15 back in October. And on November 30th, she was brutally murdered by this piece of shit that you see right here on the right. And his name is Cole Herring. He is 23 years old. Now, unless the laws have changed, 23 and 15, which means she's a minor. Now, I have to wonder, did he know how old she was and just didn't give a damn? Or did he not know how old she was and she may have lied about her age? See, I don't want people to come in here and saying, oh, I'm putting all the blame on the victim. Like I told you, I'm coming at this from all angles because you never know how this stuff plays out. How many stories have we done where a lot of young girls put themselves in danger going around with these older men? Because a lot of them like to be or feel grown. I mean, some of y'all may have family members who are female family members who have been known to attach themselves to grown men, knowing damn well what the consequences could possibly be, whether something good, not good, but bad things will come out of it every time, whether it's with that person or with a family member finding out. Mr. Superboy actually just recently did a series of videos about that girl who ran off to be with her coach, and this guy was in his 30s and she was like in her teens. But of course, because she's a white girl, they're going to cover it at a different angle and make it seem like he was the one that instigated the whole thing and was the one that kind of kidnapped and trapped her, when in all actuality, when you read the story and read between the lines, she's the one that pretty much went along with it. She was a willing participant in what was happening. There's been other stories as well. I remember I spoke on one, was it last year, where this young girl snuck out of her parents' home after her dad forbid her from going and seeing this boy or whoever, and she snuck out and she wanted to go meet with this boy. She ended up dead because that boy and the boy's girlfriend ended up killing her. And that girl had to be like 14 years old after her dad told her not to leave, and she went anyway. So that's why I'm coming at it from various angles. And it's another angle I'm going to come at it too, but let me continue. But he stabbed her 80 times. 80 times. And then set her body on fire to, I guess, hide the evidence, as if they couldn't have found that even through the brutal burning of her body. Now, as I was also continue reading through the story, it was saying how her parents were out at the time when she went to meet with this guy, and they said that she met him over Facebook. This is why parents have to really monitor what their kids are doing, especially in the social media age, because it's not like back in the day when you had a lot of latchkey kids where your parents knew exactly who you were, who your friends were. Like back then, parents knew. They knew who you were hanging out with because most of y'all grew up in the same neighborhood. Shoot, some of your parents probably watched them as kids when they were younger. Like, some mothers or sisters babysat kids and whatnot. So they knew the neighborhood. Back then, everyone knew everybody on the block. Everybody. You knew your next door neighbor, you knew the person at the end of the block, you probably knew some people around the corner. Because that's how tight knit your relationships were within the community. But with this social media age and the millennials, they have access to everything and everyone. Now, this is a guy she met on Facebook. This is not a person she grew up with. This isn't a person she met out and about. This is someone she met online, meaning she never had any kind of physical conversation with this man outside of Facebook. They probably never even spoke to each other over a webcam device like FaceTime or Skype or any other type of way to communicate where they talk to each other face to face, even if it was through a computer. So her first time meeting this guy will be the last time she would ever be alive. It's crazy when you think about that. So really, all of this stems in three different ways. The first way, of course, is this guy, because he brutally murdered this girl, and we don't have a motive as to why he did it. None. Like, I read through the article, and it doesn't say anything, or it gives out any reason as to why he did it, and they're trying to question or wonder if he's ever killed before because of the severity of his crime. I mean, you don't just go around stabbing someone 80 times and he just burned their body and probably never have killed before. I mean, give him the benefit of the doubt, if he never killed before, he would have just stabbed her maybe a couple of times, but he stabbed her damn near 100 times. It makes you wonder, how can you stab somebody that many times on their body? Like, where the hell else are you stabbing them? You can't be stabbing them in the same place. I can only imagine what her parents had to feel when they found out, and he's the one that told them. I read the article, and it doesn't even specify if she has even mentioned this guy to her parents before. Probably not, because he was 23. So it also makes me question too, did he lie about his age? Because see, she could have lied about her age, or she probably was upfront about her age, or he could have lied about his age and said that he was the same age as her. Remember, online, anybody can be anybody they want to be, any persona. They can take up any person that they want to be. Some of the fakest people are online. So she, like I said, either she lied about her age or he lied about his age. If he lied about his age, then he really set her up. But he, according to this article, it said he was arrested at the scene after the body was found under a pile of leaves. He stabbed her, burnt her body, and buried her under some leaves. They say he's been charged with murder, arson, abuse of a corpse, and other related offenses. And he's being held pending a future preliminary hearing. And the girl, she's from Newcastle, Delaware. And he told her parents what he did. He didn't run off. After he killed her, he stayed at the scene and waited for her parents to come home. And that's when he told them that he killed their daughter. So, like I said, he has some blame. Unfortunately, she has some blame. And the parents, like I say, the parents need to monitor what their kids are doing on social media, especially when you have daughters. Because you know what I've noticed? Whenever it comes to stories like this, it's mostly the little girls, the young girls who are in their teens, who are going through those changes. Their bodies are starting to change. They are the ones that are usually caught up in this stuff right here. Not saying that every last one of them, but a good 90% of them are the ones who succumb to stuff like this. And who knows? I mean, you never know what other outside influences she may have had. She might have had some friends who probably were engaging in the same thing. They say sometimes your friends rub off on you. Well, if they do stuff like that, then you need some new friends. It's an all-around sad case overall. It really is. But like I said, I'm going to cover this at every angle. Because like I said, this could have been avoided. Now, a young girl has lost her life. Parents have lost their daughter. I really could give a damn about him. But I still would like to know what the motive was. I always like to know what makes a person commit such an act like this. Like, at the end of the day, he was still dead wrong for what he did to her. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Be sure to check the links in the description and have your notifications turned on.